At that time, it suddenly hit me. Like, I lost my job. I didn't know what I was going to do next.
How many of you have lost your jobs or you know someone who has? It goes without saying that Malaysia's economy has been severely affected by COVID-19. So many businesses aren't able to hire new people and are even struggling to keep their current employees. If you are unemployed, it's a hard time looking for jobs. Before the first MCO in February 2020, unemployment rate was at 3.3%. As of July 2021, unemployment rate is at 4.8%. This means people are still struggling to find jobs. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because we know that long-term unemployment is one of the leading contributors to mental health issues in Malaysia. I interviewed two people who lost their jobs during the pandemic to learn what they went through and how did they overcome unemployment.
Hi, my name is Eunice and I lost my job during the pandemic.
Hi, my name is Sharinee and I lost my job last year, December 2020.
Previously, in my previous job, I was working in human resources. Being in human resources is that every day is very different, so we have different kind of problems to solve, problems to resolve. So it's actually quite a non-mundane job, I would say.
I was working as a teacher in Chinese private high school for about 2 years, almost 2 years. I started there being an intern and then I got my placement there. So basically my responsibility is to teach students, like my first one, and then also motivate them, encourage them. So everything was evolving around my students.
1 week before, our management actually told us to come to the office. Incidentally, at that time, it was supposed to be our bonus and increment period. We actually saw that our management were like holding those those little envelopes, and we actually thought that was going to be our bonus letter. After we had our lunch, our management gathered us, and then that is when they told us that the COVID is hitting hard and our company has to shut down, and all of us were actually retrenched. So earlier when we actually saw the white envelope, that was actually our retrenchment letter.
I would say political, organizational politics were going on into there, and we were told to continue the lesson plan. All the homeworks must be given to students. I was the first one to put my marked papers on my HOD's table, and she was like quite shocked. Everybody was like, okay, she was actually doing well. And then suddenly I received an email from my school saying that you have been punished because you didn't submit the students' marks on time. I went and approached my HOD. She was like, she just ignored me. Okay, so I just felt this is not going to work, so I need to bring this issue up. I went and met the academic. I told them, okay, I received this email saying that I'm not doing my work properly, but you can see this is my proof. And then the only answer the academic gave me was, oh, your HOD told us that you are not working well. He just kept, okay, I'll talk to your HOD and I'll get back to you. And boom, the next week, I received another letter saying, okay, your contract is not being continued for next year. They thought that I'm not capable of teaching the students over there, which is really not true. And also a lot of organizational politics going on in there, and I stood up against it, and so they decided not to continue my contract.
So I packed my stuff, I drove back home like normal. So then, when I went in my house, so my grandma came out, because I'm staying with my grandma, and then she said, hey, why you come back so early? You kena fired, is it? My grandma always says this whenever I come back early from work. So at that time, I looked at her, I told my grandma, I was like, Paul, I really lost my job this time. I really kena fired. At that time, it suddenly hit me. Like, I lost my job. Like, I didn't know what I was going to do next.
The first day I received an email saying that my contract would not be continued, I just took my car and I just drove with the thought that just go and crash into anything and just don't come back home alive. That was the only thing going on in my mind. And thank God that was the time my husband called me, but by then we were not married yet, just friends. So he called me and he was like, where are you? Can we just have a talk for a while? And I was like, okay, fine.
It was a challenging thing for me. It's like for me to wake up and say, you need to start saving, few weeks before they actually told us that we were getting retrenched, I actually just signed a loan, a bank loan for my car. At one point, I started to, overthink a lot, and I actually got quite depressed at that time, and I kept thinking like, what was I gonna do? So at that time, I really did had anxiety, and because of all this, at that time, I did had insomnia, so I couldn't really sleep properly at that time, and that was honestly very mentally exhausting for me.
The most important one, of course, it's financial problem. Finding money, finding a job to cater up my commitments, and then also comes along is a package, depression, stress. I wasn't strong enough to face this, and I thought I wasn't strong enough to face this part of my life.
I was definitely grateful that I have friends that constantly checks up on me every day, and they are always very readily available when I felt like I needed to talk to someone. But for me, at times, there are not you can't express 100% of your feelings to your friends. There are some things that I couldn't share with my friends. So that was when that I actually, I was open to trying out to go for therapy. I was quite nervous at that time because I didn't know what to expect. But at that time, after the session, I felt somehow very relieved. When I went for therapy, I knew why was this happening to me. So yeah, it was actually a good thing.
The biggest part of my life to go through this was my husband, I would say that. He was more like a strong person. He went through that as well, and he mentioned that in a way that I could understand. I mean, there were people who were advising me on, don't worry, keep it up, keep going, but there's this one particular person who actually understands you. So he was actually giving me a strength by saying that we will go through this together, and he was actually giving hope that I will find you a job. And honestly, that made me to have a little faith, but better than zero faith, right? So yeah.
I finally found the time to do the things that I love, and one of them was singing. So I started, vlogging, I started, editing my travel vlogs, because I used to travel a lot last time before the pandemic. And also at that time, I had this, crazy idea of starting a podcast as well with my friend.
Words of advice from my husband. He always says this, today, just live in the moment. You are happy, you are alive today, so just be thankful and be happy. Don't think about future. So that is one thing which I was finding it very hard for me to practice in my life, because I always planning ahead and things don't go as a plan, and I'll get so stressed. So that's part of me, and I got back into my reading habit. I started reading philosophical books, so which also helped me in a way to go through this.
I remember I sat in front of the laptop every single day, sending out resumes to about a total of around 50 plus companies, and at that time I couldn't do much because I can only wait. So, and probably out of 50, only 10 came back to me, and because at that time I knew that there was not much opportunities for me in Malacca, so I was open to apply for jobs in Selangor and KL as well. I still remember it was very tiring for me because I had to drive up and down to KL because some companies, they require me to attend the interviews physically, and that time interstate travel was allowed.
I have not found a new job, but my husband and I, we started a new business after a long term of discussion. He used to talk about opening up a business, but he wasn't so sure about what business to open or to what business to get engaged in. So we decided to open up an online food business. Our business is called as N Cube, M power of 3. So M Cube Signature Kitchen is it's a home cook online business. We do have homemade sandwiches, homemade chocolates, cupcakes, and right now we have a new menu on the list, a biryani. All are homemade. It's all more focused on being cooked at home. Then we found investors among our family members who were also having the same idea. They also want to involve in food business. So we just get all the people together, the investors, and who helped us to grow this business.
Few of my interviews, I was actually quite confident because they actually they threw me a surprise question and asked me about all those technical human resources questions, and I managed to answer everything. But then, they ghosted on me. So, so many things were going through my head, like why am I being rejected? Why didn't they reply me back? So definitely, I felt quite down at that time. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to give up. I don't want to apply anymore. I'll just wait. But I just told myself, just keep applying, just keep applying. Who knows, you might actually land a job that you want to work. But then again, I'm glad I didn't give up because I actually ended up getting offered by one of the company that I was interested at working in. Well, in terms of financial, us Malaysians, we do get support from the government, especially because of the Bantuan scheme that actually help aid those who are unemployed. But in terms of finding a job, I don't think that it is easy because even though there are job vacancies out there, but it might not align to what they want to do.
I would say no, unemployed Malaysians are not getting enough help. They should actually give us more opportunity, like without discrimination, not being discriminate to each other, open new platform and encourage people without looking at any specific factors, anything. We are just human and we just need help, and people must be able to help us in any form.
I know that there's my future jobs out there that actually the jobs that they share with me is not really what I want to do. I feel at this moment I don't think that there is enough support for unemployed Malaysians to find a job.
The struggle from being unemployed during this pandemic is very hard. Very miserable. I really understand. Use this time to work out on yourself, find out new skills which you might not know. If you're really good at dancing, you can actually make some money out of it. YouTubers, anything. Just have to be come up with new contents which can actually reach millions of people.
Just don't put the blame on you, okay? Because this is not your fault. Don't be afraid to ask for help as well, because your mental health is equally as important. Remember that whatever happens now, definitely not gonna define how your future is gonna be, because there are so many endless opportunities for you in the future.
Don't give up. Just don't give up. Yeah.
Long story short, if you are struggling to look for a job, please do not give up. Seek help and support from your family and friends. You are not alone. If you know someone who is struggling to look for a job, please help them in any way that you can. One website that I would recommend is the Employment Insurance System. They provide re-employment assistance, career counseling, skills training, and monetary benefits. Let's take care of each other, guys. Kita jaga kita. If you guys have any personal stories that you would like to suggest, please let me know in the comments below, okay? If you guys haven't subscribed to us, make sure to subscribe to us over here. And if you haven't followed our Instagram account, make sure to follow us over here, okay? Alright, thank you so much for watching, guys, and look out for my next episode. Bye!